I learned about it when I came to my office on a Monday morning that there had been a bus burning.
And Bobby Kennedy suggested there should be a cooling off period.
Frankly, I was not a great admirer of Robert Kennedy. I felt he was a cold and rather ruthless man, but he was very good in that interview, and he states his position firmly.
We made a decision that we weren't going to let the threat of violence or let Robert Kennedy stop the freedom rides.
Kennedy brokered a deal with Governor Patterson to ensure the safety of the Freedom Riders from Birmingham to Montgomery. That turned out to be more difficult than it sounds.
The governor had changed his mind. I made attempts to try to get the governor, and I could never even talk to him. And the president finally tried to get in touch with him, and he wouldn't talk to the president.
Bobby Kennedy became so desperate, he wanted us out of Birmingham because he thought it was too dangerous. He said, "Let me speak to Mr. Greyhound." And a mob came out of nowhere, just hundreds of people with baseball bats and chains, and started beating people.
Congressman Lewis was beaten over the head with a Coca-Cola crate and hurt rather badly.
Dr. King went down in the basement of the church and called Robert Kennedy and told him what was happening, and Robert Kennedy spoke to his brother. That was a very dangerous evening.
This is the testing point. Now, we had to go out a few minutes ago and counsel with some of our own people who were getting to the point of returning violence. And we don't want to do that. We can't do that. We have won the moral victory.
To me, that's just a very powerful clip to sort of be there in that moment with that kind of tension, that kind of danger, and then that message of nonviolence continuing to carry through even under those circumstances.
He came in here expressly to stir up a riot, and he succeeded, and he was helped. He was helped to get here and escorted by the federal government.
At 4:30 in the morning, the National Guard arrived.
Hadn't been for President Kennedy federalizing the National Guard and putting the city of Montgomery under martial law, I think many of us probably would have been killed in that church on that night. That was a scary night. It was a press conference that took place in the living room of Reverend Abernathy's house.
We think we are rendering a great service to our nation, for this is not a struggle for ourselves alone. It is a struggle to save the soul of America.
I remember sitting there with Dr. King and Reverend Abernathy. We met at this long table and had this press conference.
The time is always right to do right.
When we hear Dr. King say the time is always right to do right, he has claimed the moral high ground.
The Freedom Ride continued to Jackson, Mississippi, but the riders were jailed as they got off the bus. They never made it to New Orleans. The Freedom Ride was over.